No.
Well, we're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and welcome in to our crew today. Hello, Chris Paul. How you doing?
Hey, not too good. I watched the Oscars on my 3D television last night and got smacked in the face.
You too, bro.
And hello, Coy Malone. She said and you look like you're powerful thirsty. I know people can't see this. A lot of folks are listening, but they can't see how thirsty you are. You gonna be able to join us in conversation today?
Powerful thirsty. So.
That's a new one. I'm gonna put that on a shirt.
That's a new word.
Powerful thirsty.
You look powerful thirsty.
Slavery speak. You powerful hungry.
And speaking of powerful thirsty, hello, Huggy Lowdown, and welcome back. How you doing?
What's up, Sybil? I'm powerfully thirsty today.
Okay, powerful thirst or thirsty. So, other than the obvious, and we will talk about what has happened. But how are you all? How was your weekend? What's going on in your worlds?
Just chilling, watching the NCAA tournament.
Can we talk about that?
We're watching the March Madness at the Oscars.
Well, I was watching March Madness before the Oscars, and I got to tell you, St. Peter's, the Peacocks.
Great story, wasn't it?
Wasn't it a great story, Chris?
I'm so happy for their coach. And because he's a black coach, as soon as he got eliminated, he took another job somewhere else for more money. He's now the head coach of Seton Hall, where they said he's going to be making more than 10 times what he was making.
Now, is that his alma mater?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were talking about that as they were, 20 points behind in North Carolina. But it was a great run for them. And I was so glad because a lot of people were saying, well, they won't get past this and they won't get past that. They won't. And that no team has ever made it into the final, to the Elite Eight or whatever, has gone from the bottom to the top. And I was and a coach named Shaheen.
Right.
He's black.
No.
I liked him at halftime. They were down by like 20-something points. Mm-hmm. And then coming out of halftime, the white lady sideline reporter, she's talking to him. She's like, you can't stop North Carolina. They get in the lane and do whatever they want. We'll be all right. But really, you can't contest their shots. You can't seem to defend them. What are you going to do? We'll be all right. He's not the first black man to lie to a white woman's face. And he won't be the last.
But you know what? He seemed to me, hearkening back to an old ESPN guy, he was cooler than the other side of the pillow. He maintained that calm and that easy. And like the other team did at the last few moments of the game, he allowed everybody to have their chance on the court.
Right. He was cool and calm like a brother who bet on North Carolina.
Like a brother know he was going to get that bigger check.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
We'll be all right. He was talking about his family.
Yeah, exactly. We'll right. Exactly. But and such a incredible motley crew of kids too. They all wanted to talk about the little white boy with the porno stash or whatever. And it was
little Ron Jeremy at point guard.
Yeah, right. Point guard. And but there were some really cool stories in there, and I was just really glad for them, and I was proud as a Peacock to see them come as far as they did and to make a good run, and good on Coach Shaheen. And now he's going back to his alma mater and leading the team there.
And on the other side of that game, I'm happy for Hubert Davis, who
the other side of it, going back to his alma mater,
right. and
in the first year taking them to the Final Four.
And he wept after the game.
Yeah.
As they were cutting down the nets, he's standing there crying. He's the only one in the Final Four that's not a historically celebrated coach yet.
Right.
You got Coach K, you got Self of Kansas, and you got what's his face, George Clooney from Villanova. For Villanova, they've all been to the tournament a million times. This is his first time.
Yeah,
as a coach.
Right, as a coach.
Right, as a coach, yeah, and his coming back and under Williams and taking over the reins of North Carolina. So it was really cool. It was really, really cool. So I was glad to see that. And that's how I spent my weekend. And then, of course, as we'll talk about later, the Academy Awards. So let's take a breath. And it is now time for What You Need to Know newsletter, taking a look at the newsletter. And this, of course, is our Monday through Friday newsletter. Thank you, Huggy. What you need to know there.
I have nothing written on my box. How come I have nothing?
Can't tell you how many times I've been told that. But none of
you
us
can get
do.
a tattoo.
Ew.
And get the tattoo, say what you need to know.
Hashtag.
What you need to know.
No, how about if I just do the letters? WY. Okay.
It's Sybil.
Not even just SW. How about that? No, I can't imagine a tattoo. I'll say, all right. So it is now time for our What You Need to Know newsletter. Please go to SybilWilkes.com and sign up for our newsletter. Please subscribe. It's absolutely free. And if you give us your name and your email address, we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. Coy Malone, you are up first. Talk about this Virginia policeman who was off the hook, found not guilty for tasing a black man. What a surprise.
This officer named Tyler Timberlake faced 3 misdemeanor assault charges and battery charges in Fairfax County, Virginia, for tasering Lamonte Gladney, who was black, in June 2020. And this was all caught on body camera. And unfortunately, a jury found the officer not guilty of using excessive force. So what happened was there were several officers on scene trying to persuade this black man to get into an ambulance to go to a detox center before the officer Timberlake arrived. And when he got there, he claimed that the black man was uncontrollable, and he thought he was a repeat offender and PCP user named Anthony. That's what he kept calling him in the body camera footage. And so at one point or another, this officer fired his taser at this unarmed black man, tasered him, several times, calling him Anthony. And then when the man was on the ground again, he tasered him when he was down. So what his defense attorney said was, the policeman's defense attorney was saying that he has experience in arresting people that are high on PCP, and this man appeared to be on the drugs. So they had toxicology tests done, and the reports came back and showed that this man was in fact on PCP and cocaine. Apparently, I don't really trust that, but maybe it's convenient for the test. For the taste. I think sometimes they just kind of throw something in there and say, "Hey, here, test that," just so it can help my case. So the defense was pretty much saying, he ruled. I feel like it's a setup, but anyway. So okay. The defense was saying, he acted appropriately because he's trained in this type of situation, and his actual attorney was saying that the problem isn't with the police officer, it's with the department's use of force policy. So that's where we need to point the fingers and not at this officer. And he kind of condemned the reports that were going out on social media saying that people weren't looking at all the facts and what have you. And he especially condemned the county's attorney. And the county's attorney was very, very upset about this because he was like, I'm a bald-headed black man. I don't have to worry about being wrongfully mistaken or arrested or treated terribly during an arrest. And
really?
Yeah, I know, right? And he said, and this is what has to happen with people in my community. So he was upset over that loss. And the black man, Mr. Gladney, who was hurt, he was hurt pretty bad. I mean, the scarring. God.
But wasn't there at one point, or maybe I'm confusing the stories now because there are just so many, Coy. And maybe this is an upcoming story of yours, but did the guy run over his foot?
That's in tomorrow's story.
Okay. All right. So like I told you, there's never an end of stories for Coy to report on in terms of social justice, police violence, and what have you. So I'm sorry, I took away from this, but this cop tased him, mistaken identity, and still he got off.
Yes, he still got off. He was placed on administrative duty when the charges were filed, and his attorney said it's unclear if he'll return to duty. So he could still possibly be out here on the force doing the same thing. And the department is backing it, and they find no faults in this because they're not holding the department accountable. They're not holding the individuals that commit this type of attack accountable. They're just freely assaulting people out here.
The brother's back was evidence enough.
Right.
It was.
Yeah.
It was, ooh.
Yeah. The look,
like it looked like it had a hole in it.
Right.
Like it was a gap, like you're right, like they had punched a hole in his back. That's how deep it was. I mean,
Yes.
to the white part.
Yes. Yes.
Like he had been whipped.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Terrible.
First of all, he went into it with excessive enforcement or whatever I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he thought he was Anthony, like he
Right,
had,
right.
he had prior,
Cause.
altercation with this guy. So
Yeah, they had history,
But
allegedly.
shocking somebody that isn't in their right mind is not going to help them. Committing a violent act is not going to help somebody that you think or that isn't, in fact, in their right mind. It's just causing damage.
But let's hope
and trauma.
that the outcome of this is what has been suggested by the defense attorney, by this policeman's defense attorney, that the rules, the laws will be changed so that this is not the way that they answer someone who's having some sort of medical after effect of taking drugs. Tasing them is not the answer.
No.
And whatever the answer is, I don't know. But in Fairfax County, Virginia, they need to get back to basics and figure out what the answer is, because that's not it.
Right.
And so, okay, so this cop got off. He's been eliminated.
Another Timberlake getting off. So.
right.
Imagine that.
Imagine that indeed. A Justin lookalike, no doubt too. But anyway, taking that and moving forward and making sure that the laws are working for the people as well as for the police. We'll see what happens. I do want to talk about the text of conservative activists and her Supreme Court justice husband are now under the microscope. And who might this social conservative activist be? Well, none other than Virginia Ginny Thomas, the wife of
she hasn't resigned yet, Sybil.
and that brings one of the many questions that are being asked, Huggy, in terms of what is going to happen to this couple. What is Justice Clarence Thomas going to do? Because all of this stems from not only her conservative activism, which has been long heralded in the community. She's like an old school tea party person. She is. She goes back a long way.
That's why Clarence sticking around.
Yeah, I was wondering why.
Well, maybe so. But she goes back a long way with the ultra conservatives and a big Donald Trump supporter. And so she has a texting relationship with a number of people within his administration. Not to say she didn't have a texting relationship with the former president himself. But at any rate, the committee investigating the January 6th insurrection, the House committee, has in their control 29 texts between Ginny Thomas and former chief of staff Mark Meadows, who also is an ultra conservative person in their friendship. And they went through these texts, and the journalists and authors Bob Woodward and Robert Costa have identified that the committee has control over these texts, and they gave a number of the texts. And so in this article, let me see if I can read this for you. This is just one of the articles, one of the texts rather, reporting one text to Mrs. Thomas. Meadows called the election a fight of good versus evil, added evil always looks like the victor until the King of Kings triumphs. So we're getting biblical there. I do not grow weary in well-doing. The fight continues. And she responded, thank you. I needed that. This plus a conversation with my best friend just now. I will try to keep holding on. America is worth it. So who texted her that, Sybil? Was that Mark Meadows? That was Mark Meadows. In response to one text from her, he responded to the King of Kings, and she said, thank you, as I just had a conversation with my best friend. Everybody knows, and this has been long known in the community, in the Supreme Court justice business, that they always refer to each other as the other's best friend.
Wow. So he is, He
And
is compromised, Sybil.
and here's the other thing, Huggy. In one of the cases that was brought before the Supreme Court, knowing what role his wife plays in all of this, he did not recuse himself. And he was the
At all.
only person
Only one,
to
right?
dissent in this ruling about the January
And
6th
he's in the
insurrection.
hospital for what?
He was he had an infection. He had
That
an
wasn't
infection. Yeah. So that timing is very curious, right? He was in the hospital for a week, not getting a lot of information. But during that week is when all of this about the text started really building, all this information coming out and telling people what was going on. And
I
now,
prayed for Clarence Thomas when he was in the hospital.
what did you pray, Chris?
I won't say that out loud. I won't tell you what I was praying.
That was a deflection of his wife's connection to the insurrection.
I was just, let's say I was hoping Joe got a second pick.
Me too, bro. I was thinking
another draft pick.
Hey, bro, I said put Judge Hatchett up in that mother.
So you know what? That was a lot of conversation when he first became sick, and people were saying, okay, we know that she's going up before the Senate Judiciary Committee. This is Judge Jackson, and it might not be too long before he makes another one because he's 73 years old. He went into the hospital for this infection, and showing the age, he is the eldest on the court, and showing his age, and so. Chris, you weren't very far from that in terms of, looking at somebody who might be in Donald Trump fashion in quick succession, making another pick.
Right. I mean, even as it is now, they said he's participating virtually right now.
Right. Yep. While all the rest of them are back in court for the very first time, he is working out of the house.
Thomas, make this right, brother. We hated you for a long time. Make this right, brother.
For all we know, they got him propped up in front of the Zoom camera, Weekend at Bernie style, right now.
Right. Speaking of the Supreme Court justice, I do want to make note of our person in Women's History Month that we featured in the newsletter, and this is something. I'm a real amateur photographer, but I love to see the works of people who really know what they're doing. Yes, Huggy.
We love to see your work. Inside joke.
But today's story in the What You Need to Know newsletter is representation matters in front and behind the scenes. And this is in reference to the photojournalist. Her name is Sarah Beth Manty, and she is a photography fellow with the New York Times. And she's a 26-year-old woman who has been at the scene as Judge Jackson, has gone from the official nomination from the president, all the way through the hearings. And the picture that she captured on the very first day of the hearings, before things went really off the rails, thanks to the Republicans, the picture of her 17-year-old daughter, Layla Jackson, sitting off to the side, her husband, Dr. Patrick Jackson, sitting behind her, and the judge, the nominee. And so there was this moment in which Sarah Beth saw the look between the 17-year-old daughter and her mother. And luckily enough, captured it. And luckily enough, nobody was cutting eyes at each other. Which can happen with a 17-year-old and her mom. But this was and she saw herself, she saw a lot of us, and what we were feeling and the kind of love and pride and support feeling for this woman. And it went viral. It went absolutely viral. So much so that she didn't even think about it. And other people saw the picture and they were tweeting it. And one of her photography fellows said, you need to tweet this out and let them know this is your work. Right. And so she did. And it's a great story. This young woman who has, covered news events all over the world. She said for the very first time, she was amongst Black photographers. Wow. In this, all of the things she's covered up to now, she's been the only.
Wow.
And she is like Layla Jackson. She's biracial. Her mother, she is a Black Latina, and it was just a really great story. I hope that you all will get an opportunity to go and check this out.
I saw the picture.
It's an amazing photo. Yeah,
it really is, isn't it?
That's some
like
a life picture portrait or something.
Yeah, exactly, Huggy. It's like one of those. And so, Coy, I don't know if you got a chance to look at it, but it really does kind of it stirs up something, or
It's
did for
adorable.
me.
They said
It's
Ted Cruz's
adorable.
daughter would never look at him like that. You see that? It's beautiful.
Absolutely, absolutely not. So I hope that you all will take a look at it. And while you're taking a look at it, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the What You Need to Know newsletter. All right. It is now time for something that you all been waiting for. The question is, what's really going on? After having some time to think about it, I'd like for you all to tell me your thoughts, gentlemen, lady, your thoughts about the smack heard around the world. The Star Smackdown, if you will, that occurred during the Sunday Night Academy Awards, in which Will Smith, after a joke by comedian Chris Rock that involved Will's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, he took a beat, but not long enough of a beat, and stepped out of his seat, walked up onto the stage, and what many people thought initially, and I don't know if you all did.
Staged. Everybody thought it was staged at first.
Yeah.
You still have some people saying it was staged. Like, come on, y'all.
Yeah.
I could tell how Chris Rock responded afterwards. Like he was a little bewildered afterwards. He didn't know how to go on. So I knew it was staged after that.
Right.
Yeah.
He got the first joke out. He got the joke out about best night in television ever.
Yeah.
And after that, he completely fell apart. It's like the more he thought about it, and he was stunned.
Yeah. And this is something we've talked about before, guys, but it's been in comedy clubs when people have stepped up on the comedy club or they boo you in response to you and things like that. This took it to a whole nother level in terms of celebrity upon celebrity beat or hit or whatever you want to call it. Some call it a B slap. It's whatever you want to call it. But a lot of questions have come out about it. So the first thing I want to know from you guys is your thoughts about it. Secondly, I want to know, as comedians and as an entertainer, Coy, how do you feel about that? People approaching you because they don't like your joke or they don't like what you're doing, and that violent of a response. So, what do you think, you guys? Chris, you want to go first?
Well, first, I think universally, everyone was shocked and stunned that it even happened. Not only that it happened on the Oscar stage, that it was Will Smith who did it.
Right.
Who's all about positivity and all his spirituality and everything he talks about in his social media and everything. That itself is shocking. Like if we had heard Dr. Dre walk up on stage and smack someone, we first asked, well, how is she doing?
Oh gosh.
And how quickly have the police been called?
Right. And no doubt they would have locked him up. But after that, I've been looking at this all day long, Sybil, and it seems like everyone's perspective on it is like personal. It all depends. Like first of all of the women who suffer from alopecia, they're definitely like right on Will. Like even the Congresswoman, Ayanna
Presley.
She
deleted a tweet. She tweeted
in support of what Will Smith did. So it's personal that way. You've got women and men who just are anti-violence and they come from a household of violence. They're recognizing Will Smith's behavior as unhinged, like as someone who is possibly a danger to everyone else.
Yep.
And you got the people who think it's all it's rigged and it's all just to make them money and Chris Rock's career is going to blow up now. I'm like, who wins in agreeing backstage? I'm gonna let you smack the hell out of me.
Right.
It messes up Chris Rock because now you got all the brothers saying you should have fought back.
Right.
And it messes up Will Smith because I think you all see in social media, white America has turned on him. Right.
And that would never happen in anybody.
Will Smith. Listen what you're saying now.
Will Smith is the most acceptable Negro on the planet.
No, for real.
On the planet. They believe he really did save the world on Independence Day.
Right.
They think that was a documentary, but now they position him as just another N-word. As you know, as
another N-word with money.
Right. And so people are saying if they think that about Will Smith, they think that about Will Smith now. What do they think about the rest of us?
Right. What you gonna do? Oh,
right.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Huggy, as a comedian, what were your thoughts? Did you watch it? Did you see it live?
I didn't see it live. Thank God I didn't see it live. I would have been swinging at the TV.
You would have been like Chris.
You try to what? First of all, I don't care who you are, celebrity or no celebrity. A brother is not, your instincts just kick in. I don't care who you are. You ain't gonna let a brother get in your personal space. That's just, and we be on stages, Chris. So
and that's what I'm saying.
And that's what Chris let his guards down because it's
because he is
Will Smith. No, it's Will Smith. Will Smith walking up to him. There's no way Will Smith's going to hit him.
Right.
Yeah, if anything, he's going to do like a fake around his neck, something. Don't you talk about my wife?
He's getting up walking that long.
Because he laughed at first.
Right.
He laughed at first.
Yep.
Jada didn't laugh.
No.
He knew he had to go home with Jada. He knew he had to ride back with Jada. And
that's when he said, okay, I got to do something.
Chris was like, whoa, he's coming up here. Oh. I was like, whoa.
And if we face violence as comedians, it's going to be on a comedy club stage or a theater stage.
Right.
But we're talking about the Academy Awards. Can you imagine? It was already bad enough that Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Can you imagine on the world stage if those two had got to tussling and rubbing up that joint?
Around the floor.
I mean, it would have been, bruh. I mean, that's how it gets worse.
Bruh.
Yeah.
That would have been great, bruh.
Yeah. Okay, Coy. So you're an entertainer. You've been on stage. You understand how this works. What were your thoughts as you were watching it, and what are your thoughts looking back on it?
I'm just shaking my head because I'm like, I get being upset. I get having that feeling of disrespect and having an emotional response. I understand that. At the same time, I feel like he's dealing with way more than just this joke on the surface. There is something going on with Will Smith to get up, walk out of his seat, walk up the stage and across the stage. He had quite a few seconds to think about this, and he committed to retaliating with physical violence over words. I don't care what anybody says. It's like, yeah, he reached his breaking point and you don't play with everybody and ooh, I want a husband like that. I do not want a husband like that. No, because that means now anybody can say something and you're going to get bent out of shape. What if that was, my brother? What if that was my dad and they said something and now you're bent out of shape and you want to fight? You could do that to me. I need somebody that's a little more level-headed, and I get it. Yes, definitely defend me. And this is by no means, shunning the black man. I had people coming at me. How could you shun as a black woman? How could you shun the black man? And y'all want black men to stand up for black women? Yes, definitely. We want to be defended. We want to be protected. But that does not mean to go pick a physical fight over words. Because if this was on the street or somewhere else, what if this man, I don't know, fought back? What if he pulled out a weapon?
All right.
Things like that can happen. You got to think past that moment and understand that you cannot react like that off of words. Right. These are words we're talking about.
So repeat that, Huggy.
You can't tell a person how they should deal with a situation, whatever on their plate or what they're going through.
Well, on the thoughts of the millions of black Twitter psychologists out there are saying what that was really about was Will. Remember that meme of him sitting at the red table with his eye crying and everything? That was used to basically make him the B word universally on black Twitter. When he hit Chris Rock, he was slapping black Twitter.
Yeah. And that's what people said, that there is a lot of frustration in that. And it wasn't necessarily the jokes that Chris has done and did last night, done in the past and did last night. But this was a lot of frustration for him and the way people had with the entanglement and all of that. So there was a lot of frustration there.
But that was because of his wife's platform, though.
Right.
Exactly. And I feel like, if this is what you want to respond to.
That's selective protection, Sybil. He's been selective with it. So now you're going at Chris Rock.
So I feel like he likes abusive dynamics because here you are in a relationship I don't see it that deep. You've been publicly humiliated about this. Your wife has publicly humiliated you, and this is the time that you choose to stand up and react to something.
I don't think he chose it, Coy. I
No, he
think
chose that.
it had nothing to do with the choice.
So
I
you
think
it blacked out,
was just
Sybil?
I think it was just instinct, and he didn't think about it. Because here's the thing, and this is something that I often tell young people: there is a horrible movie. It did not do well at the box office, and it was with Will and Jaden Smith, and I think it was called After Earth. And there's a moment, where his son just acts upon instinct. He just does things without thinking. And his father Will tells the son, take a beat, take a knee, instead of moving like that. And this is something that we need to tell ourselves as well as our young people, because everybody is so reactive. And I think that, he has been professing all of this stuff and, the Zen mood and the love and peace and happiness for so long through his Instagram and other
But he
social
ain't got
media.
it in real life.
But no. I think he does have it, Coy. I
Mm-mm.
really think that this was just a moment. He just lost it.
Possibly.
I think that that it was not a moment of thinking. And I think that, people who are condemning him, like for real, like Damon Dash is calling Will Smith a villain after the whole Chris Rock slap. Howard Stern says Will Smith's Chris Rock slap is a sign of great mental illness. And comedians are pummeling him, saying he could have killed Chris. I don't think this is the Will Smith. I think that, and I think that's what Denzel and Tyler were trying to do, trying to say, this isn't you, dude. This isn't you.
Because he got something else going on below the surface. Like, everybody has a moment. I get that. Everybody can mess up. I get that. Everybody can have a bad reaction. Nobody's going to be perfect. I get that. But to have a reaction like that caliber on that stage, there is something else going on.
And it might be, but I don't think that's who he is.
But a lot of people are also upset about the privilege that he had. That he was able to walk up on stage, hit Chris Rock, and then go sit in his chair and watch the rest of the show,
and celebrate afterwards,
and win an Oscar, right? And get an Oscar, and they gave him a standing ovation,
right?
Standing ovation
with the whole tears.
So no apology to Chris.
These are a number of questions I have.
He had an apology to the Oscars.
Well, no, he did. He apologized to the Academy Award, and no, there was no. No. That's what I'm saying. He apologized to everybody but Chris. But so there are a number of questions. First of all, should he have been punished there on the stage? Should he have been taken out? Should he? And once he was named as the best actor,
taken out now, Sybil. You gotta specify.
Should he have been removed from the venue?
Say removed.
Removed from the venue. Should he have been allowed to accept his award? Should charges have been filed against him? All of these things are, these are questions that I still have, and I'm wondering what the people, if we have any, I know we have people who are commenting, just like to have some response from them in the very couple of minutes that we have left.
People are divided. People are really divided.
Barbara Johnson on Facebook said, "I don't like seeing us fight in front of white folks."
I saw somebody on Instagram say this is rich on rich crime, not black on black crime.
Layla Diekler, Detiker, I have alopecia and Will was wrong. And see, and I don't know if I should say this, but I will. I'm not the biggest Chris Rock fan. I don't like his comedy. I think his comedy is at the base of it is a real meanness. And I think that his relationships with women and the way that, with the whole movie that he did about, Creamy Crack and all of that, he knew that that she had some issues before. And I just think that, he was taking advantage of that.
That's been brought up, Sybil. That's been brought up that he made the movie Good Hair for his daughter, he said.
Yeah.
So he can be proud of her hair and all the things that black women have to go through with their hair and the judgment of their hair. And then the person who created that insults Jada Pinkett's hair. So that's been brought up also. But I hear Chris Rock is going to get his boys to jump Will. Unfortunately, his boys are the cast of Grown Ups. So good luck with that.
Yolanda, I'm not sure what you're saying, but we have you want to go ahead and put that up? Okay, so this is Will Smith on his social media. He said, "Violence in all its form is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed, and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. I'd also like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, all the attendees, and everyone watching around the world. I would like to apologize to the Williams family and my King Richard family. I deeply regret my behavior. Behavior has started what has been otherwise a gorgeous journey for all of us. I am a work in progress. Sincerely, Will."
Which everybody is. But I don't believe it until he takes down that video that he posted of him and Jada before that.
Okay, all right.
Because he literally said, we got dressed up to choose chaos and chose chaos. The post right before it.
Okay. Well,
duality.
So let's move on. That is, I mean, we've run out of time on this particular segment, and perhaps we can come back to it as we talk about entertainment. But I do want to move on, and it is now time for topical. And this
it's a good word, so it's a good word.
It is now time for topical, and this is topical, and so if you want to move on in this conversation, we can. If you want to continue this, but I do have some other things I do want to talk about, because here's the other thing: there are other things going on in the world, like a war in Ukraine, which was referenced, and there's some other things. CM Williams on Facebook said Academy Awards turned into the Source Awards. You know what? And let me tell you, I was in the middle of 3 different text chains last night. The first text chain was with comedians. It was with George Wallace, J. Anthony Brown, and Myra J. So it was me with the 3 master comedians. The second text chain was with Kim Whitley, Sherry Shepherd, and John Murray, and the others was with some girlfriends. And so it was really interesting how this all and how just kind of all sped up. But the text chain with George and Jay and Myra was most interesting because as comedians, and we were watching all the way through. Our text chain was from the beginning of the Academy Awards all the way through.
They stayed up.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, this really kept them up. This really kept them up after this, and then we were getting the real video that we were prevented from seeing in the American audience and things like that. And so, but George's reaction was really hurt my heart. He was just so hurt. He was so mad. He was so angry. He was angry at Will. Then he was angry at Chris when it was announced during the show that Chris was not going to press charges. And then he was angry at both of them. And then, so there was a lot of emotional stuff going on back and forth. Did you all have that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. My wife and I were watching together, and our daughter in the room too. And we were just all sitting there, and it's like the air got sucked out of our living room. We were all just like shook. Because I think we all have a relationship with Will Smith. We all have, we've invested time and love and effort in his career from the fact that he was a little skinny rapper from Philly to the success. We've always celebrated his successes from Bad Boys to Independence Day. And it's like we all love Will Smith, and he let us all down just because we saw him as being better than that.
Right.
I mean, I'm like, you and Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith are like Hollywood royalty.
Right.
Who the hell? Why the hell do you care what Chris Rock said on stage?
He is human.
I know he's human. But you think Barack Obama doesn't want to smack the hell out of people? For certain people, probably. It comes with the job. I mean, and Will Smith has always presented himself as above everything. He deals with everything on a spiritual level. He jumps out of planes. He climbs Mount Everest. He does all this amazing stuff.
Spiritual people are gangsters too.
I understand that. But for
Barack got Michelle too, though, Chris.
For black people, it was very disappointing and shocking that Will Smith snapped out of. I mean, we don't know who he really is now.
Right.
Well, I think that's what Coy is saying too, that there's, something, and I don't want to speak
Duality.
for you. Coy, go ahead.
It's the duality of things that you have to realize that nobody is perfect. Even yourself as a spiritual person, as a person of peace and what have you, everybody makes mistakes. But it's as long as you own that mistake and it's what you do to rectify that and to make things right. I feel like that's the best way to really kind of to look at this. But it also just kind of shows like, yo, this person that we thought so high of, that put himself up so high, actually deals with some things on a human level. Everybody does. Everybody does.
He tried to bring the spirituality back in his acceptance speech. Remember, he said he's a vessel of love, and God is working. I'm like, bruh, you really just slapped the dude. I mean, you can't slap the dude in church
afterwards. And then afterwards, keep my wife's name. And then afterwards, twice.
And here's the other thing that I didn't understand. Then they went to party.
Right.
They went and they were celebrated.
Was there even any footage of her trying to talk to him or calm him down?
Like he won a boxing match, Sybil. It was like he won a boxing match and everybody was celebrating.
In Vegas, and they were going to the club afterwards.
like Mayweather just won a fight or something.
But I'll be like, thank you, babe,
it was like the scene. Remember the movie Stepfather, Chris? Or was it Stepdad or Stepfather? Remember
was that De Niro or Chance Voluntary? One of those.
Stepfather or Stepdad. Remember how nice the stepfather was, and then he just lost it.
He clocked somebody with the phone.
Yeah, with the phone.
Yeah.
I think because Will Smith has the good guy
image. Yeah,
he's the good guy image. You know what I mean?
But Chris would have been a lot better off if he had talked about Will doing Wild Wild West and not cracking on Jada.
Right, because I read today also that joke wasn't even he did a run through for Will Packer already, and he did his jokes. That wasn't even one of them. He just threw that out there. I told my wife I was so mad at Chris Rock because the joke wasn't even great or fun. It was just unnecessary, bro.
Yeah.
It's a throwaway line, bro.
Yeah, just
how many of those you've thrown out?
Yeah,
Right.
You better believe he threw that one away.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Washington, D.C. The House Select Committee investigating the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol have already filed contempt reports. This happened Sunday night for the former Trump White House aides, Dan Scavino and Peter Navarro. Peter Navarro is that little Weasley-looking guy there's
so many Weasley-looking
that's
guys.
True.
Right.
That's true. But they claim that that they have granted Scavino 6 extensions of his deadline to sit for an interview with the committee and hand over documents noting several of the issues Navarro said he could not discuss he previously wrote about in his book. So he could do it for the book.
It's like all of them do that. So they withhold stuff and then put it in a book.
Right.
It's like Bill Barr.
Yeah. And Mark Meadows and
Meadows and thousands of them.
Yeah, and they all made.
Like it's been 1,000 books.
Yeah, the money they thought they were going to make in the next Trump administration. And tonight the committee is meeting. This is the 4th such gathering for the House committee, and so they are also going to talk not only the conviction and potential prosecution, but it could result up to a year in jail, and they could face a fine if they do not appear, if they do not participate in the investigation. And I hear that the son-in-law, Ivanka Jr.'s husband, is going to be called. Yeah, is going to be called to appear there before the committee on Thursday.
What's up with all this inviting them to appear? They invited Jenny Thomas. Invited.
Well, they like to put it, very nicely, couch it in those words, and then when they say no, it's like, okay, now we're gonna have to put the hammer down.
What are you doing Thursday after you leave Capitol Grill?
And back to Will Smith. Will lost it over a G.I. Jane joke. How did Judge Ketanji Jackson, her husband, sit there and listen to all that and not hit somebody in the face?
That's true.
That was serious. I mean, we're not talking about comedy right there. We're talking about real attacks on his wife.
Right.
If he had got up and smacked one of them, we would have been like, word.
Just imagine.
Right on.
Expedite that. Confirmation.
Okay. I think you're absolutely right. I think that's another good question that, had this not happened, that's what I would have asked about, and what's really going on and what people are thinking about there, Chris, because it is so, that whole week for me was just so up and down, but mostly down, as the Republicans had their opportunity and campaigning for 2024, quite honestly.
How traumatizing was that for as Black women to see another Black woman being so interrogated? It was such a meanness. Like
that's what it sounded like. It was an interrogation.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And Coy, I don't know. I don't want to speak for you. I don't know how you felt, and I'd like to hear your take on that. But for a lot of us, Chris, it's what has we've come to expect from people.
Wow.
It is.
And overqualified.
Oh yeah. Oh, way over.
And
yeah.
resume look like Cheesecake Factory menu compared to these cats.
And the anger and the small-mindedness and the bitchiness of Ted Cruz and people like that, and Ted Cruz,
and the dumbass questions, right?
And he was angry more than anything else that he's not sitting there in that seat,
right,
being interviewed for the judgeship, for the justiceship, because he was a classmate of hers. He has made it very clear that he wanted to be nominated for Supreme Court justice, and he was there on the other side, and he was making it as difficult for her as possible.
I mean, there wasn't the same amount of venom by Democrats questioning Kavanaugh, and we're talking about sexual assault. What they were questioning him about, so you got venom being spit at a woman, and her only crime is being a Black woman.
Even Amy
Coney Barrett,
right?
Yep.
And she got rushed through the express lane.
She got rushed through so fast, bro.
So, Coy, speak to that, because that was my thought. That was my experience. And as angry as I was, it's something that we have come to expect.
It's something that we definitely come to expect all the time. Black women get pressure from all types of angles. We're not doing this right. Can you do this better? Well, what makes you think you know this? How do you think you know this? You don't have experience in that. You don't know what you're talking about. We get this from all angles all day, every day. We're, I feel like, the toughest people on the planet, and people expect for us to deal with it, because as soon as that we react, it's, oh, now you're an angry Black woman.
You're the angry Black woman.
Now you have an attitude. Every time we address something, and you don't even have to address it with an attitude or anything, just simply address it and say, hey, I'm not comfortable with this. I don't like this. I want to understand that. Why are you doing this? Oh, where's your attitude coming from?
You're lying, Judge? You're lying? No, I'm not lying. I'm just saying I don't remember that particular case. Right. We can go back to it.
Yeah, I've had cases.
It is awful.
570 cases.
Cases. How am I supposed to remember that particular case?
Right. You can sit there and they're trying to frame you as somebody who's complicit in child pornography.
Right.
And if you get angry, you lose.
Right.
Who's not going to get angry if someone keeps accusing them of things they have that aren't true, that they haven't done?
Critical race theory.
Right.
Critical race theory, racism, are anti-racist babies.
Oh my gosh.
And here's the other thing.
Are you a woman? Define woman.
Define woman.
What kind
of ridiculous question is that? Marsha Blackburn, you little Tennessee. There were so many moments, but I do think that they
just you little Tennessee. You didn't just.
I can't.
She doesn't want to be an angry Black woman on here.
Okay. I'm hurt and I am angry, but I'm not gonna, hold my gold, Coy. Right. I'm not gonna take these off, and I'm not gonna.
It's messed up when you tell your friend to hold your earring. She put it in her ear.
Just for safekeeping, girl.
Because the thing is, a lot of people want to point fingers and want to say, "Oh, this is what an angry Black woman looks like," and they have no clue, not even half.
No, but the Black women really watching Coy, we're like, I heard Maya Wally. She said it took everything for her when there was those moments of sighs, and she would say, "Senator," and she's like, Vaseline across the forehead, hold my earrings, 315. Come on, let's go.
I'm shaking the table.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Cory Booker, though, man. Cory Booker.
Gotta love Cory.
Gotta love Cory Booker.
Stood up for her.
Gotta love
up for her. Man.
Gotta love him.
Absolutely. That's how you do it, Will.
Yes. That's.
It's a way to
right
do it.
Next time.
That's how you do it, Will.
Yeah, that's a discussion that I would like to continue because there's so many things that came out of this, but we will continue it because the committee, although they met today, they will vote on her passing through the committee next Monday, the 4th of April, and then hopefully by the 8th of April, we'll have a Senate confirmation, the full Senate, that is. So of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. So, and I'm just, oh God,
It's so dope,
oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Y'all really believe Manchin and Sinema
Yes.
are gonna play nice with this? Okay.
Yes.
I have no faith in them.
I know. Well, he's already said that
we
he
already
is.
see those last minute shenanigans they do,
But-
and that's right up Mitch McConnell's alley.
Well, right. But I think that they're moving ahead without any kind of Republican support. All right. So now it is time for entertainment. And I don't know how you guys feel about this, but got some entertainment news. First of all, on the divorce blotter, Blackish star Anthony Anderson's wife has now filed for divorce.
Jeez. God, again.
Oh, yeah.
You said again.
Yeah. I don't know if you all remember when they separated back in the teens. It was, I believe it was 2014 to 2016. They were separated. She filed for divorce in 2015, but dropped the case. And so she's gone back. And according to documents, she filed for divorce on Friday in Los Angeles, requesting spousal support. She also checked the box to block the court's ability to award any support to Anthony. He gets nothing from her. And she also wants him to pay her attorney fees. They've had a long run. They met while in college at Howard back in 1989. And they have 2 kids. And as I said, they have had this, the separation for years before, but now this is it for her, according to this. So.
And I heard he's working on a new show called Single-ish.
The ish works for me. So
That'd be real funny.
So no doubt about that. And congratulations to Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal, and Steph Curry. They won Oscars.
Oh,
Sunday
did they?
night. Yeah. They were part of the producing team for the Queen of Basketball documentary. Do you remember?
Wow.
You remember the guy that won and gave the shout out to the president to free Brittany Griner?
Right.
This was the movie that they were producers in.
Wow.
And so they won for their roles in this. So they helped produce the production about Lucy Harris, one of the greatest women basketball players ever, an African-American woman and the only woman to be drafted by the NBA.
Wow.
Yeah, Queen of Basketball. So check that out. And that is the entertainment news there. They're not the first NBA players, obviously, to win the coveted Hollywood Award. Shaq's former teammate, Coy, boy, Kobe, won the Oscar in 2018 for the best animated short film. Remember Dear Basketball? Yeah. So congratulations to them and the director, who was Ben Proudfoot, who is the one that said, and please, President Biden, let's bring Brittany Griner home.
Please. Good gosh. Man, why aren't they rescuing her? Come on.
And can we give a shout out to Will Packer for giving us the fight, the slap, whatever you want to call it aside, giving us one of the most entertaining Oscar awards I've seen ever.
Yeah, I didn't even know he did it. So I heard people talking about it. That's a damn
Black
shame.
producing team.
Will robbed us of that.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
He did. Everything. And Questlove.
And Questlove won, was a big winner. Ariana
and Beyonce
DeBose
performed. I didn't even know Beyonce. Where in the hell do you hear stuff with Beyonce performing? No one's talking about her.
Nobody's talking about an incredible open. Just a beautiful, incredible open. And what are we talking about? Right.
But I do have one major problem with the broadcast last night.
What is that?
The in memoriam that they did. it didn't work for me. They put the people performing out in front of the screen. It's like the dead people were competing with the gospel group.
It was very distracting.
It was very distracting. I'm like, this moment belongs to those who've passed on.
Because I was loving the music so much that I was forgetting, what they were doing.
It took away from it.
It really did, Chris.
It's like you said, nobody really cares about all these dead white folks. Let's put Kirk Franklin up front.
Yeah, that's funny. But they did
Maybe they thought you could see over.
But the good news is that, and it was, that's what they did think, but it was still, there was so much movement and stuff. It was just like, but it did have great ratings last night, and it brought the ratings up from the past few years, and good on Will Packer. I'm so proud of him. And HBCUs were in the house last night, Coy.
I'm curious to know how the ratings improved after the slap, after everybody started calling everybody saying, you've got to turn on the Oscars.
I know that there was a lot of conversation because people they got great advertising, and some of the advertisers were trying to carry over after the slap and on social media, and people were not happy about that.
But my wife got mad at me because after everybody who came on stage from that moment on, I would be like, Will should go up there and slap Anthony Hopkins. You should slap Hannibal Lecter right now in his face. Then it becomes a bit.
The bit that won't die. Absolutely. All right. So now it's time for our daily inspiration. And that means, Huggy, Chris, it's Yogi's Jewels.
Yogi's Jewels.
Yogi's
slap you in the face with positivity.
Today, some regrets can be prevented. Show love and give flowers to people while they are still alive.
You're a day late, Yogi. You should have said that.
Thanks, you guys. It's been a fun day. I appreciate it. And we'll see y'all soon. Aloha.
Bye.